Welcome to Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up on the show, in a world of great turmoil, getting back to basics when it comes to our savings and investments could be the best thing to do, and why supply management remains a sacred cow in Canada. Plus, big tobacco is settling some old suits but facing new complaints. That's all ahead. First, for the week that was in business, it's time for the briefs. Canadian steel and aluminum will be slapped with 25% tariffs starting March 12th. That's after President Donald Trump seemingly reversed course on a one-month stay of execution for Canada.
We don't want it to hurt other countries, but they've been taking advantage of us for years and years and years, and they've charged us tariffs. Most of them have charged us, almost every one, I would say, almost without exception. Definitely. They've charged us, and we haven't charged them, and it's time to be reciprocal.
Prime Minister Trudeau said Canada will respond if the U.S. follows through on what he called completely unjustified tariffs. The new tariffs would be on top of any additional headed our way, making the total for those sectors 50% or more. The auto industry is one of the primary pain points of tariffs on aluminum, and this week GM said it might be able to work around up to half of the tariffs. Ford said the uncertainty is causing chaos for the auto industry. Canada is the largest supplier of aluminum to the United States. Testing by the Canadian Automobile Association found that cold weather can sap an electric vehicle battery of up to 40% of its life. The test looked at 14 different vehicle types in real-world conditions between Ottawa and Mont Tremblant and found that in the cold weather, battery ranges were 14 to 39% below target. Cold weather EV performance is a chief concern from Canadian drivers. Elon Musk made a $97 billion bid for OpenAI, which operates ChatGPT. Musk co-founded OpenAI with current CEO Sam Altman, who declined the takeover offer this week. Altman and Musk reportedly parted ways over the AI organization's decision to pursue a for-profit model. Musk said he would like to return to its not-for-profit roots. TD Bank stock got a boost after it said it would sell its stake in Charles Schwab for $20 billion. It will use a little less than half of the proceeds to buy back its own stock, which has been in the penalty box after it settled charges of money laundering in the U.S. And those are your business briefs. The level of uncertainty in the world probably makes it feel impossible to make wise investing decisions. A lot of Canadians don't feel comfortable making those decisions at the best of times. Satish Rai spent his career overseeing massive investment portfolios, including at OMERS. Now he's written a book aimed at empowering regular savers and investors called Lessons Learned. Satish, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me today.
One of the things I loved about your book is how straightforward it is. It's very common sense language. Anybody can understand this. What motivated you to write it? You've moved in kind of very rarefied circles when it comes to investing. Why did you want a book that would reach a broad audience?
Well, man, I think there's two things. First of all, I've heard the same questions, same concerns for the last 30, 40 years whenever we've talked to clients across the country. The first thing is, how do I think about the investments? But more importantly, that investments have become way too complicated. So my desire was to create an investment book for the average Canadian to get them going and to demystify some of the terminology that we use in everyday language.
And so in terms of getting people started, you know, as I do, that a lot of people find this category of their life some combination of boring and impenetrable, and therefore they kind of don't want anything to do with it. And yet it's so important. How do you get people over that hurdle to actually sitting down and spending time looking at their investments and savings?
Well, I think it's really by starting with small steps at an early age. When it comes to TSFA, when it comes to RSPs, even $50 a month makes a massive difference down the road. And I've said this simple thing that if you save 5 or 10% of what you make, instead of overspend by 5 or 10% every single year, the long-term effects is absolutely dramatic. So my ask for everybody is to start very slow, very cautious, and do not overcomplicate your investment process. Keep it very simple.
So one of the things I like about that is it's not super useful for middle-aged or later people, but those people might have children, they might have grandchildren, they might have young people they mentor. It is very important to tell young people this message, which I don't think we do a good job of. I think we let young people spend without thinking about savings, and we should be turning that around.
Yeah, in fact, Amanda, I think the book is best set up for a parent to talk to their child. Now, while the book is useful for everybody, it's really designed for 40 and 50-year-olds to sit down with their children to say, how do we even start this conversation? How do we start this process? The reality is all the tools are out there. All the products are out there. You don't have to reinvent anything else. You just have to simply start the process. The other thing I did with this book, by the way, is it is a picture book. So the concept to want to make it as simple as possible. So if we can change a few people's lives for long term, I think having a picture book with one simple message around each picture, it should be very helpful.
Yeah, and of course, this is clearly aimed at younger people, but I must tell you, Satish, that when you read it without the pictures, it's for everybody. And it is language that is clear and accessible, and I know a lot of really smart people that can benefit from this. The advice in there, if you think about sort of the most basic advice you can offer, what do you think is the most, I know there's a lot, but what do you think is the most important bits of advice that you're offering?
So I think there's three things. First of all, start early. Second is that be careful of the kind of debt you take on. And the third thing is line up your investments to your time horizon. So if you're 30 years old, your time horizon should be 30 to 35 years old. If you're 40 years old, your time horizon should be 20, 25 years old. And then finally, keep whatever investment you do really, really simple. This is not a complicated process. Investments, if you do it right, should be very boring.
Satish, so good to have you with us for this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Amanda.
Satish Rai spent his career overseeing massive investment portfolios. He's written a book. It's called Lessons Learned. Coming up, if Canada wants to trade with the world, what might we have to give up? Stay with us.